Well, welcome back to this episode of Did She Really Say That? I am your host, Katrina van Oudheusden, and I'm super excited for our conversation that we're having here today because you know me, I like to find women that are bold, daring, and doing something differently. And for those of you, you know I love that time and productivity. The Creator Planner is now on sale. This is a new look at how women are redefining success through their natural ebb and flow that they experience every month and every season. So, welcome to this one because this ties right into really what Kelly's going to share with us. She's a people person first and foremost, and she moves people's and ideas. She's the embodiment of a joy strategist, which I think is fantastic. I want to be a joy strategist, Kelly. Like I just really want to like borrow that from you or take that. She's an interdisciplinary artist. I knew I was going to trip over that word. And she's an educator working in performance, film, and nonfiction. Really, what I love about this conversation with Kelly that we're going to have today is she generates movement, dialogue, and joy. Joy to build collaboration and with relationships with businesses, education systems, communities, groups, and individuals. She's highly decorated. She's got a lot of accolades behind her. We'll probably talk about. But she is the principal of the movement and artistic director of the Body Wise Dance, which we're probably going to dive into a little bit also, Kelly. Yes.
Sounds like a plan. Um,
So yeah, I'm super excited for this conversation. Thank you for being a yes to be
oh,
here
thank
and
you.
dive into this with you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm humbled and delighted. And that intro, um, I should just have tattooed on me anytime I feel a little down and be like, no, you've done stuff.
You
You are stuff.
have. You've
Yeah.
done things, you've created things, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're in this world and you're doing extraordinary things. So thank you for that. And this is your opportunity to share that with, our audience and have this conversation and let them know like why and how you got into this business.
Well, I started my consulting firm called the Movement Movement. Way back in 2015 when I was also still performing and directing a different dance company. And I was building both simultaneously and getting experience in the consulting world, working with nonprofits and for profits and all the people in all the places. And had the great fortune of a 10-year contract with the Geico Corporation that really taught me everything about how to work with completely different types of people, different age groups, different levels of experience, all in the same room, working towards a similar goal
Mm.
under very tight time pressure. And that's really similar to building a performing arts show. And so I realized, oh, my skills as a performing artist and a creative person absolutely translate to the goals and needs of business and community groups. And that's how it started. And it's just been on an upward trajectory since then. I wish I could say in a linear way, but we
It
all know
never
that's not
is.
life. That's not
That
life.
is such BS in this world. There's nothing linear, especially how women build business.
Looking back, I wouldn't have it any other way. And looking forward, I hope it's more interesting than a straight line. So,
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I just want to kind of touch upon what you just said, that your skills have been transferable. Like so many times we think that the skill set that we learn in a corporate job or the skill set that we learn as a parent even doesn't necessarily
mhm,
translate to the world of business, but it really does. It's all about relationships at the end of the day. Would you agree?
absolutely. It's about relationships. It's about being able to be your most authentic self in any space in your day and in your life. And that's really the sweet spot that the joy has brought in my life, focusing on joy and focusing on um, building it as a discipline. And for me, joy is the result of an audaciously and radical, responsible life.
I
And
love
it
that.
sounds really unsexy, though.
No, it sounds just honestly,
But it's true.
but
It,
what's crazy, Kelly, is that when I hear that as a woman, I want that in my life.
yes. And it
Right?
doesn't
Like,
mean boring, it means choiceful.
yeah.
That actively choosing every day, actively choosing who I'm engaging with, actively choosing where I'm putting my energy, actively choosing what kind of parent I want to be today, what kind of wife I want to be, which client am I focusing my attention on so that they can have all of me. And the other side of that is that means I have to get really good at saying no
Mm,
and be confident with it. And also know is my yes. I heard this the other day, an orgasmic yes, an audacious yes, a full-bodied yes. And so my work centers on that, just that bringing your whole self into all of your thinking and all of your decisions and not leaving the body behind. But filling that space where mind and body need to connect. And I find when they're not connected, there's suffering and anxiety.
well, and there is, and you'll see that, especially as like I've continued to talk with women. I know you continue to talk with men and women, but there is a disconnect for us women. Like I experienced that. I remember when I hit like my kind of the whole um I guess orgasmic burnout. I'll just use that word. Because it was so complete. Like it was literally an obliviation of everything. Like who I was, what I was doing. It was like that a total implosion of it all. And I was like, I can't, this isn't the way I feel life, right? And this wasn't bringing me joy. It was a more of a to-do list. So I think when you talk about audacious and I think we talk about joyful, I think that is something I hear so many women say that's what I want. I want joy back in my life. And we are trained in this. We've talked about this previously in our meet and greet. We're analytical. We get all up in here. And this is a very centric gentleman masculine movement. And I felt so disconnected from my body. Like I looked down and I was like, wait, what? Like, this is also part of my experience of life. It wasn't just thinking through everything, it was experiencing it, feeling it, movement, embodiment. And I think
Hmm.
and I love when you say like it's the movement. I'm like, yes.
Well, and part of the ethos behind it is living and embodying and practicing what I preach. And so I feel like a co-learner in
Mm,
every room I step into, whether I'm facilitating a board meeting or facilitating an equity team at a school or working with accountants, whoever I'm working with in that moment, or just a one-on-one person. I'm co-learning with them and listening and understanding, oh, am I living what I'm saying to them? And if
mm,
not, I need to get right back in alignment. And my favorite phrase is begin again. Begin again. If it's not working, begin again. If I
mm,
fell off my intention, begin again. And there's something about being an adult in this world where everything is on a screen and on video and feels like it's performative. We forget that we need to learn by repeating. Like as a dancer, as a human, we learn in play and repetition and variation on a theme, like, screwing it up, but knowing that we need to try it again because it's actually the right idea. Just because it
mm,
didn't go well one time doesn't mean it's not correct. And then, maybe after a few times, if it's wrong, vary it up, see if there's another way in. But I think there's a pull to be curious. And I think it's for me, curiosity in action. Like curiosity is like a scientist testing that hypothesis, but with your whole self.
yeah.
And as women, we store so much energy in our bodies. And if we're not working with our body and moving that energy through, we're not even giving ourselves or our clients or anyone we're in relationship with the opportunity to have the best of us. And I think that's part of the responsibility is, taking care of yourself and being in relationship with yourself before we try to be in relationship with other. And it's a constant beginning again. It's a constant restart.
It is. It's always beginning again. And I think when I was listening to you, I've been in dance in and out for most of my life. Either whether as a child I was in ballet, tap, and jazz, and then as an adult I got into ballroom. And I just remember having that
Um,
conversation. What?
I was just clapping for you.
Yeah. I just remember too when I was working in the gyms and I was doing all these like Spartan races and everything else. I said, you know what I really just want to do? I just want to dance. I just want to move in my body in a way that is learning about who I am and learning how I, have a relationship with my partner, and not a sexual relationship, but like an actual, like a real friendship, a partnership, communicating in the nonverbal and the verbal, and relearning that as an adult, because I think there's a sense that we experience it as children and then we kind of shove it down and push it down and bury it down. And then, when I stepped into ballroom dancing, there's still a little bit of hesitancy even today about being fully expressed.
Mhm.
But it's that movement. It's just trusting the body and just being blissfully and joyfully in the moment.
We're we're so vulnerable as
Mm,
adults. The moment we mention that this is going to be an embodied practice or a movement experience or a dance thing, especially I think the word dance for adults, they hear it and they picture something really specific in their mind, and
mm,
it's definitely not them. And if I could, chisel away at that with every tool in my toolbox, I will. I mean, that's part of my mission and part of what's in the book. I just wrote a book called Your Embodied Life, A Field Guide to Joy. And it's in pre-sales now, wherever books are sold, but officially out March 24th. And I'm excited for this
yeah.
to get into people's hands as a way to build just that intimate one-on-one relationship with the body and connecting mind and body, but also with dance. It's a primary practice for me is to, at its simplest form, just turn on a song that makes you want to wiggle and commit to just moving your body for the entirety of the song.
Mm,
No judgment, no, I want to look like this or any of what it might look like, but just how does it feel and what is it to commit to one song and just move, move for the one song and let dance be that simple. And there's so much research behind why we should all be dancing, but at its basic level, to experience being present with yourself and having fun with yourself, releasing whatever tension and whatever is built up and letting it go. But from a medical standpoint, dance is the best preventative medicine for early onset dementia and Alzheimer's.
mm,
And better than any other field tested, clinically devised study, dance is the number one.
mm.
And so, like, from a medical perspective, we should literally all be dancing every day, all the time. And it's vulnerable and it feels risky.
Yeah.
And so, I think the work is to strip any of that feeling of insecurity away. And it's hard,
Yeah,
hard.
because it does feel like it is vulnerable. It is a sense of being judged, because I think that's one thing, and I think there's a lot of, especially for women in the audience, you might have like experienced body shaming, or just a discontent with your own body, like certain things you don't like. You sit there and you look in the mirror and you're like, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I think what you're doing with the movement and what you're bringing to the world is like, stop that, like really embrace who you are, like everything about you. And that, I think, as women, is one of the beautiful things, which is why I brought you on this podcast. Did she really say that? It's because I think you all ladies need to hear this, that it's okay to dance. It's okay to get out there and just move your body. That is the essence of feminine energy, is movement in so many ways.
Mm.
And I love
This
that.
world is telling us to be smaller.
Mm,
We're constantly told to shrink. We're constantly told to conform to a smaller vessel, to take up less space, to confine and contain yourselves to fit somebody else's expectations and as a whole society's, and it doesn't serve us.
yeah,
My question is, who does that serve? It's certainly not any of us. And
it's
it's
true.
just one of the exercises in the book is just that, to expand to like
Mm,
the biggest shape you can make. As silly as it feels, just stay in that big, big, big shape, and then move around the room as big as you can. And just feel what it is to take up space, and then add in the idea of moving around the room in this big expanded shape, taking up all the space you can, with power, with authority,
Mm.
with presence, with joy, with audacity, with expectation, with all of those things that we're constantly made to feel like we should strip away and make smaller. And then when you go back to a smaller space, it doesn't feel so small.
Ooh.
You still contain the vastness of taking up the bigger space.
Okay, so for those of you that are listening to this and that are not watching what just happened, I'm going to recreate this because there was even over here with me, Kelly, like I just like, ooh, like I sat up straighter afterwards. So
Yeah.
Kelly raised her arms as she was talking about taking up space and taking up space in the room. So I mirrored that. So I took up space and I took up the space that I'm in. I filled the room with who I was. And then I started pushing at the doors and the windows a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so as she was talking about this, both of us are our hands raised. We're like just feeling this. And then you talk about taking in that power and then coming back into yourself. And you're just sitting back in your seat and you're getting present to that. You realize that space you still hold.
Mhm.
And that was like, for me, it was like beautiful. So I invite all my listeners, you're going to feel like the need to not do this in public. But I would say go take up the space. Go into a room in your house, go into a bathroom if you're at work or wherever you're listening to, or even in your car, raise one of your hands, keep the other one on the steering wheel. Um, but fill the space and really feel yourself empowered in that. And that's in the book, right?
Absolutely.
Holy
Absolutely.
crap.
And
Okay,
so
so
many
so
more.
you have to get the book just for at least for that part. Because that was beautiful. Like even in that few seconds, less than 60 seconds or so that we were in there, that for me was even transformative on my side. So thank you for
Well,
that
and
gift,
that's
Kelly.
oh, you are welcome, and thank you for allowing us the space to do that together. 'Cause I think that's part of building trust with yourself, is also being able to share it with others in your community that you trust. And it's really vital to being able to then get to expressing things that are even more real and more maybe challenging and difficult, with comfort and confidence, because you know how you feel about it. You know
Right.
how you feel in your own self. And if something feels off, we talk about the gut instinct. And as women, we're so keyed into that. And if we're not, I invite you to dive back in. And it's something I think that is really precious. And the more we can build awareness of how something is landing with us,
Mm,
and, and follow it and trust it, it gets stronger. And I don't know about you, but anytime I've gone against my gut instinct, I have regretted it. And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in real ways. And I feel like this is empowering in a way of just building that awareness that
Mm,
if something doesn't feel right in the gut, you're going to know it and be able to choose more wisely.
yeah.
You said something about feeling like you were taller in your spine, and
Mm,
and you were sitting up a little bit more. And I think just on the most basic level, we're right now, because of the way work is, often hunched over a computer. And then in our relaxed time, we're like, I call it Netflix body, where we're just like in a letter C with our spine.
yes,
And
yes.
that invitation to just expand and extend and hold yourself up, just the information we take in visually,
Mm,
in peripheral vision, and what, like, just literal data coming into our world when our field of vision is open wider,
yeah.
and we're taking in more oxygen in expanded lung space, like just that basic biological thing. We're more visually open to people approaching us, and we're literally more open and oxygenated to make better choices.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
I think that's part of like we talk about there's like in this world of marketing, we talk about like attraction marketing and that type of thing, but that is you as a woman being embodied at your full power and standing up straight. That literally is the most attractive space you can be in.
yes.
You will attract more into your life money, health, relationships, communications, being a mother, the moment you embody who you are in that power and not trying to be everything for everybody, but really truly be your true self. And I know you're a mom, so how do you embody this in motherhood?
Oh, that is a great question. Mostly, I apply, I have a whole section of philosophy around choosing what lens we're
Mm,
engaging with the world through, whether it be curiosity, observation, or judgment. And that switching through those. So with my kids, I really try to key into observation and curiosity
mm,
rather than judgment, especially when they do something that might be misbehavior or outside the bounds of what I expect or what I would like them to be doing.
ye-
And,
yeah.
and get curious about it. Why are they doing this? What's going on? Is this actually developmentally appropriate? And I just don't like it. And come at it from that space. And I wish I could claim perfection at this. I mean, I screw up every day. My kids would definitely tell you that. And it creates that little bit of buffer between my internal reaction
Mm,
and a chosen response. So what's going on? And we really, my partner and I, we try so hard to keep our household fun and joyful. I'm a huge believer in Stevie Wonder dance parties, especially at about 5 p.m. when everybody's grumpy and dinner is not ready yet in our house. Um, but everybody's a little hangry and we're getting short with each other and it just feels chaotic. That time of day is the time to put some music on. Whatever that music is in your household. For me, like you can never go wrong with Stevie Wonder. I feel like Stevie could solve everything.
everything.
But
You
uh,
know, but what you
yeah.
just said reminded me of something too. When I was growing up, there was a lot more music on the radio. Like I did grow up
Mhm.
in a household with all of us kids and my parents, and like there would be no TV, but the music would be on, and we'd be dancing or cleaning or doing something. I remember my boombox back in the day always being on, recording, listening to something. And I think some of the downside with as much as I love the advanced technology is that we make it all about us and our music listening,
Mhm.
right? And we don't share our music with
Yes.
anybody. We literally sit there with our earphones on, we bop to ourselves, but we're not actually engaging the music, which I think is meant to be an experience and not just a solo, but an experience with friends and family, and getting to learn, beats and things like that. And I think we've gotten to a point where I see it. Gosh, Kelly, I see it everywhere. It's like all these kids and all these people, everybody just got earbuds in all the time. And I was like, are you engaged with anybody outside of your world? Like I feel like that's also part of what's making us smaller is that it's so individualized. We're not experiencing movement and joy through other people.
They're taking ourselves so seriously all the time. And there's something about when you're actually in community in a physical way.
Mm.
And especially if music's on and you're bopping around, like you're going to bump into each other. There's going to be some, oops, I'm sorry, didn't mean to, excuse me. Like the little awkward turtle moments that happen and
Yeah.
that we learn to recover from that can actually bring us closer rather than every conflict igniting anger.
Yeah.
Some of those conflicts ignite giggles. And and I think it creates the opportunity for conversation and dialogue that can go deeper from a space of shared common experience and and the opportunity to settle in
Mm.
and focus on that music that's either being played that we're listening to or that we're watching with someone. And then, for my neurodivergent friends, it's parallel play. I think we all benefit from parallel play.
Yeah, we do.
We we all benefit from having a thing to focus on that then we can side connect to each other and say and be in deeper dialogue about serious and unserious things, um,
Yeah.
because we're having a shared experience with our whole selves together that isn't about either one of us.
Yeah, there's two things that popped into my head as you were sharing that. Is there's a grocery store here that always plays like an 80s pop chart, 90s pop chart mix, and I will find myself as I'm going up and down the aisles like singing along, and if I got my card, I'll be dancing a little bit. And I've had people and I've caught people doing the same thing. Not
Of
caught, but
course.
like just acknowledged, and I was like, I know, great song, right? And we just kind of like we bond in that moment, and we share that kind of like playful experience of, we're shopping, but we're singing and dancing in the store. But I think that was one thing that came up. And then the other thing, I when I do our retreats, I always want women dancing. So it's like have a dance party, right? Like we want you moving, singing, playing, getting to know different things. So like that is integral because you're right. When we let loose as like a group of women and we have some fun, that is play at heart. All right. So I got one question for you that I love, my audience loves I ask. So, we're all about bold statements, and you've said some pretty bold things so far about movements. Um, but have you ever been with a client or even a customer and you've said something and they looked at you and said, "Did she just really do that or say that?" kind of a moment that you can share with us?
Um, there's so many. Um,
That could be a whole nother podcast episode. Got it. Okay.
there's a moment in every engagement when we're getting to know each other and we're warming up. And I say to everyone, if I ask you to do something with your body that your body should not do, don't do it. Make another choice, adapt it, but be safe with your body. And then I'll usually pause and I'll say, it's probably good advice in life. And everybody kind of giggles. And if I'm in a corporate setting, like the HR person gets very nervous and sweaty, and then we keep it moving. But there's that moment where, what we're doing in this room, yes, you need to take radical responsibility for your body and space. I don't know what knee surgery you've had or are recovering from. It's coming from that place. Like,
Yes.
please don't, if I say get into a little ball shape on the floor and your knees don't do that,
Then don't do it.
yeah, do your version of that. And it sounds so simple, but sometimes we try to like overachieve,
Mm.
in silly moments. So that little reminder that no, actually, you get to choose that this is a space to be choiceful. And also, please, out there in the wild, be choiceful, be wise with your body. Um, yeah. So that's one that happens pretty much every day.
Over and over again, that's one. Be choiceful. Like, I like that phrasing. Be choiceful. Like, just be aware of this and embody who you are. The question I do have, because I know we're getting to the end of this episode, I can't believe we're like already there. So, how did you come up with the company name, The Movement Movement?
Well, I believe that when we move together, it is a powerful movement. And I'm also a love-based activist. So I do get out there and create public activations. In fact, I don't know when this is going to air, but the next one is I'm participating with the Fall of Freedom nationwide protest, and we'll be organizing my third dance protest since the current occupant of the White House has been in. So we'll be dancing at the Kennedy Center in protest of the current leadership there on the
Interesting.
22nd of November from 1 to 2:30 p.m.
All
Um,
right.
so there's a bit of I consider all of this work an act of love-based activism. Like, how can we approach all of the work with love? And I believe when love is served at the table, we can do the hardest work. We can say the hardest things. We can get to the real truth and build consensus and change for common good.
Yeah. And I
So,
agree that I think if we come from a space of love and commitment to humanity, not just to ourselves, not just to our family, but to the human uh, experience that we're all going through, whether we're here stateside or we're international, wherever. there's just an opportunity to serve from the space of love. And I truly believe movement. And one of the big key things that we don't do, we get very, very um, stuck. We sit a lot, we get into our own space, we're not connecting with people. And I love with what you're designing, you're like, no, it's movement and community, it's movement beyond self.
Yeah.
It's the experience, the combined collaboration experience of
How many,
life, love out there.
how many of us have had our best idea in the shower or on a walk?
So true.
I mean, it's when
I'm
you're
a
with your
shower
full body.
genius. I'm a shower
Yes, we are
genius. I'm not gonna
shower
lie. I'm
genius.
a shower genius. Everything
And
comes to me in the shower.
but if we have that experience as individuals, not that we should be showering as groups together, that might not be
Right,
quite
right.
the
But
metaphor,
we can
but
share that that's what we do. We start to kind of bond
but
over
if
those
we're
crazy things.
moving together, trying to build an idea together
Yeah,
in the same thing, we're going to multiply
yeah.
the impact and the possibility for the next better idea to emerge.
I love that. So the book is Your Embodied Life. This is coming out in pre-sale right now, even at the time of delivering of this. And for those listening on the podcast, definitely get your hands on this. I think Kelly is really on to something big here. And I have not heard in all of our episodes. I know we talk about movement as women, but I think you're the first woman I've met that's really bringing this into the social construct of life, relationships, personal, business, and how it just bleeds over into itself and how it's woven into the fabrics of our very lives. Because I love what you said earlier. You said creativity is not just something you're thinking, it's the expressed movement of that
Absolutely.
creativity. So,
Absolutely. It's not ever enough to just have a great idea. We have to put it into action.
yeah. I love this. Well, I want to just say thank you so much for everybody that's listening in the audience. Ladies, you know the deal. The show notes have everything you need to know about Kelly, how to connect with her, how to find her. Definitely follow her on social media. She's the movement queen. I think she needs to own that in so many ways, and just be proud of the work that you're doing and the impact you're making. And thank you for birthing a book. 'Cause
Oh, thank you.
I know it takes something to bring that into fruition and really let that be an expression of who you are out in the world. So I know that takes something. So I acknowledge you for taking that bold leap and putting into action, into movement, this and
Thank
totally
you.
embodied your life. So it's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure having you on here. Any final words for
Likewise.
our audience around the embodied life and movement itself?
Ignore everyone who's not walking the path you're trying to. And take your arms out wide. Wrap yourself up in a mighty hug, like you are
Oh.
trying to grab your own shoulder blades. Just give yourself a hug and acknowledge, thank yourself for everything you're doing today, that you've done in the past, and that you'll do tomorrow.
I love that. I'd give myself a big hug. And I have an arm span of, like I always call it, the longest arm span. It's actually taller than me, so I can reach my shoulder blades. Uh, I have what I call the gorilla arms. Like they are
Yeah,
literally able to reach anything and everything around me. I love it. So
same, same.
yes. So take up
Well,
space. Thank you, Kelly, so much for
thank
being with
you.
us here on Did She Really Say That? Audience and listeners, I love you all for joining us. Continue to turn in, plug in, share out. Um, invite your sisters to listen into these amazing podcasts, especially here with Kelly. This episode is one of my favorites. Definitely get into the show notes, click on those links, leave a comment, tell Kelly how awesome she is. And for those of you that are enjoying this, we know we love a 5-star rating. Come on, support your
Come
sisters in
on.
business. Like, let's
There
do
goes that.
this. Yes.
Stars. Stars.
Yes. Give out stars. Give out stars. I like stars. So thank you again, Kelly. And for our audience, you know the deal. Thank you for joining in with us on Did She Really Say That? And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.